I didn't have many expectations coming here. It's my first job, my first everything of this sort of level, and it's been great. The people here are amazing, the work is fun, I'm learning a lot. It's just a really great experience for me.
I really didn't come in here expecting anything. I wasn't sure how it was going to be like, so I didn't really know a lot about networking, and I learned a lot about it. And also because it was my first job, it's kind of weird coming in, like commuting on part.
When I first got here, I didn't expect the office space to be this nice, to be honest. I thought it would be a lot more serious and then more stuff would be happening really fast, but it's more laid back, but everyone still gets their work done.
I kind of thought it was going to be a lot more like office spaces, a lot more bureaucracy, a bit more everything set in stone, not much flexibility, sort of like what you typically see on TV or in the movies.
I definitely wasn't expecting it to be as similar to an adult world because in high school they still don't really treat you like adults. They still kind of treat you like kids sometimes, so I think it was really cool to come here and to be treated not as like a kid.
I actually expected a lot of the technologies that they use here to be more older and a little more outdated, but I realized that in my project and looking at the other projects that they're working on, the technologies that they use are much more modern and progressive.
Well, I wanted to come back because I thought I could learn a lot more. I am considering to invest my time in future with the government.
Working on the PC support team was different considering that I worked for the DocuSign team last year. I think some of the things that really helped me were just the hands-on work I had to do.
I feel like what surprised me the most is how big networking actually is, because I didn't realize it was that big of a part of IT. When I first went into the data center, it's huge. There's so many equipment. I didn't realize that so much was needed to actually maintain the network. And it was kind of just whoa, there's something new.
Interning here was really different than the previous internships I've done with government. The technologies used is more advanced. Ideas here are more embraced. People here are much more laid back and cool. I was able to establish a connection over here.
We had a lot of different classes. We had a project management session, a session about social media. I was not expecting those lessons, especially because they're just from different departments and we can learn different aspects of business and government work.
So I'm working on creating a map that plots all the wells in the county. I worked on changing the application that people use to apply for permits to build wells. Basically, users can go onto the map and they can search an area and then determine how many wells are in a certain area, and they can also see information for each of the wells, like the owner well ID, when the permit was issued, and what kind of well it is.
I am working on the Improve project. I am transferring the Improve API over to a web API, sort of changing the middle end. I'm not touching the databases, but I'm changing the accesses to them. And I'm working a little bit on a sort of mock-up for the UI, the front end, just using some new things that they haven't really used for the UI yet. And it's good to be doing all this new stuff.
So currently I'm working on kind of a design refresh for Alka Web, which is an intranet portal for county users across different departments. So basically in the portal, there are different sidebar links depending on what department you're in. And I used JavaScript and jQuery to give you the correct links based on your department.
The official description that I got was I would be automating paper forms. Employees here at Alameda County no longer have to fill it by pen and paper, then walk around the office handing it to their supervisor or other delegate. Now all they have to do is go online, open the link, and fill everything out. And everything is just an email to their supervisor.
My project is me creating this front-end web page where county employees can enter in information. My web page transfers all that information into that DocuSign page, populates it, and then DocuSign saves that document onto their servers, and the county is able to access them.
Right now I'm working on a web application using the Waze API, and the purpose of the application is for the county to be able to mark road closures, and then later on that information will be sent to Google, and when people are using their phones, checking their directions to a place, say their workplace, then they can see that there's a road closure and the direction will be rerouted.
So the program I'm making is a website. It is for SSA employees to request hardware for new employees. The existing website takes only one form per request item, and it puts them all together. So right now we're splitting each item into a request item as a single ticket instead of one big form.
Some of the projects I've worked on is just like PowerShell scripts for like different applications like Mozilla Firefox, imaging multiple laptops for a public defender group, working with customers when they have technical difficulties with their systems, just things like that.
I don't have a specific project that I've been working on the entire time. It's more like a bunch of mini projects, and a couple of them are just been going on site, looking at how like the network actually is, configuring the equipment such as switches, routers, and another side project that I've been doing, which really isn't networking, but it's pretty cool, is a Raspberry Pi. And then a Raspberry Pi is basically a mini Linux computer, and I've been learning how to script and do other things on it. Alameda County has like a public wireless, and then for that I created and designed the splash page. When you click on the public Wi-Fi, this thing pops up and it basically shows you the terms and conditions, and I designed a page for it to make it look more appealing.
I would say the biggest takeaway from this experience is the kind of interaction that I get with the other interns. So for example, one of the other interns was talking about Hadoop, which is just a technology that's really important in the world of data science. And so he said, oh, maybe we should all try to learn this technology together. When we have free time, we try to learn other things like that, and we're bonding over learning.
Since it's my first time working in everything, this experience has gotten me a lot more comfortable with learning all these new things, with research, talking to people, and doing all the sort of business things. It's really great to have this experience.
I think I've really learned how to pick up new things really quickly and work independently. My mentor Maggie has really allowed me to work on my own. I definitely think I've learned how to make my own decisions.
My biggest takeaway would be there isn't one set path. I've met so many people here that have come from so many different areas of expertise. Just because you went to school for one thing doesn't mean you have to spend the rest of your life doing that one thing.
I feel like the biggest thing was like, oh, this is what actually happens day to day, and this is what I'm probably going to be doing when I graduate from college.
My biggest takeaway this year is learning to network with other county workers, communication and learning how to interact with other interns and professionally as well as out of work. Sometimes we always go to restaurants, we eat together, kind of that crazy bonding experience that maybe in startups would have and you wouldn't expect in government.
So my biggest takeaway is that I'm going to be able to consider government as much of a better option for me in the long run as a career path.
My biggest takeaway would probably be it gives me a really good idea of how my next maybe 30 years are.
I got to work with like a different group of people doing different work, and it made me realize that you have to start somewhere. Maybe it's not what you want to do right now, but in every situation, there's always going to be like things you could take away from that. At the end of the day, experience trumps everything.
Meeting the interns with most of them are college students, so it's like they have a different experience, and talking to them gives you valuable advice for applying to college and just the job industry, and it's fun to talk to them and it's fun to hang out. I feel like the funniest part about them is they're all really obsessed with memes.
There's this big whiteboard in the break room right behind where we sit, and it's a whiteboard, so you kind of expect you to walk up there, write your ideas, work out your problems on the whiteboard so other people can help you. Well, we did the exact opposite of that, and if you walk into the break room right now, it's just a bunch of doodles, a bunch of drawings, a bunch of inside jokes. So, people will walk in and, say hi to us, see how everything's going, and the first thing they notice is the whiteboard. They stand back and think, whoa, what is this? They're trying to decipher all these doodles and drawings, and you kind of can't. You have to go through each intern because we've all drawn a little bit of something on that whiteboard. So really, that's the longest lasting inside joke is that whiteboard.